Hello and welcome to Straight Talk. I'm Zeynep Gökçe. With a young, tech-savvy population, it's no surprise that teenagers and 20-somethings in Türkiye are passionate gamers. A recent study revealed that 92% of this demographic plays video games regularly, the fifth highest globally. Turkish companies were quick to spot this trend, pouring significant investments into mobile gaming. Today, those efforts are bearing fruit, with the country hosting hundreds of gaming studios. But with rapid growth comes fierce competition. The big question now is, how will Türkiye carve out a unique space in this increasingly crowded field? Nili Kozad has more.
For the past 15 years, Turkey's gaming industry hasn't been playing around. What began as a niche market has now evolved into a major game hub for entrepreneurs, investors, and developers in the region. Encouraged by government initiatives and university programs, the gaming market boasts one of the most supported ecosystems in the country. As of 2023, mobile gaming leads the charge with 44 million players, but the industry is diversifying with PC, console, and esports too. Tech investors like Entertech are among those supporting Turkish startups, hoping to take their games global.
Some 3 to 4 entrepreneurs rule the world, and therefore the ecosystem is very important. We have been establishing a fund to invest in startups and fund our own startups, as the entrepreneur goes wherever the fund is.
The turning point started with the country's first major success story, Peak Games. Acquired by Zynga for $1.8 billion in 2020, it was the catalyst for local companies gaining international recognition. Recently, Sweden-based tech company Aonic made a $10 million investment in Turkish gaming firm Mega Fortuna, citing its innovation and flawless mobile gaming approach. In another instance, South Korea's W Games announced its 60% acquisition of Turkish Paxi Games for $27 million, thanks to its competitive edge and seamless integration of game mechanics. And one nation keeping a close eye is Saudi Arabia. With 67% of its population being gaming enthusiasts, Saudi Arabia wants to adapt the successful Turkish model to become its own game hub by 2030. But whether sharing know-how will benefit or backfire Turkey's already established industry is something the nations will have to figure out together, play by play. Nili Kozad, Straight Talk.
For more, joining me now in the studio is Baris Ozistek. He is the chairperson of Joy Game, and Honggyu Kim. He is the CEO of Game Changer Worldwide. Gentlemen, welcome to our studio. Baris, you sold Joy Game to a South Korean tech giant, Netmarble, in 2015. That was a very big deal at the time. How has the industry evolved since then, the Turkish gaming ecosystem?
Yeah, that's how we also met with Honggyu Kim, because he was also working at Netmarble at that time. So at the time we sold Joy Game, I mean, at the time when Netmarble entered that market, it was the first time in Turkey a global gaming giant entering this region. Indeed, not only in Turkey, including all Middle Eastern region, it was the first gaming exit to a global gaming giant. So at that time, there were just a few companies in gaming industry, and many people never imagined that good money could be earned from gaming industry. Indeed, many people and government didn't imagine that it's a solid industry. So just after Joy Game, it created kind of an awareness in the ecosystem, awareness in the government, on the families side, because the families they didn't want their kids to work for a gaming company before, but when they understood, yes, there's a good, solid business here, people can earn money, then they became very enthusiastic. So that's how the journey started, like 10 years ago. But of course, at that time, there were just a few companies in Turkey. Right now, we are talking about more than 800 companies. And good part, among all these 800 companies, There are small entrepreneurs, game studios, mid-sized game studios, game development, mobile game development, PC game development, even console game development studios, and big game companies, publishers in the ecosystem. And also surrounding that development and publishing muscles, we have the academy, we have the government incentives, so lots of ecosystem players. Turkey became one of the most powerful ecosystems in the gaming industry. I can say clearly Turkey is one of the top 10 right now in terms of the development power.
And you work together. Honggyu, you have founded multiple gaming companies, and the turnover of the games you've developed so far is over $1 billion. And from what I understand, you're here for business purposes here in Istanbul. Can you tell us what is your thoughts on the increasing interest in the Turkish gaming industry?
Turkish gaming apps has gained significant global attention due to their innovative designs and rich storytelling and ability to tap into culturally unique themes. This country's strategic location as a bridge between East and West allows Turkish development to understand diverse users.
Yes, and Baris, I just read this, Turkey ranked 7 in Europe in terms of the size of gaming investments and second in terms of the number of gaming investments. What are the investors looking for? What is the main asset they want to see? Is it the product? Is it the data? Is it the design? What can you tell us?
First, of course, talented founders we are looking for as the game investors. Talented founders means, of course, hardworking, highly capable, multi-skilled talents are the most important part. And when you make an investment, you are willing to see these multi-skilled talents as the founders of the game companies. But that's also not enough, because gaming market is becoming more and more super competitive. And so in such a competitive environment, I mean, competitive means more than 100 countries, the studios located in more than 100 countries developing games and submitting them to the App Store or the other platforms. And it's totally free market, so no regulation, no market entry barriers, so anyone can develop a game and enter the market. That makes the market super competitive. And also, game companies, in terms of technology, in terms of capability, they are super advanced, because you are doing marketing in 200 countries, you are handling millions of players every day. Then that means your capabilities should be super advanced. That also creates a difficulty for the newcomers to enter the market. So that's why investors, yes, they are looking for talented people in the teams, but especially investors are looking for talented founders who had a certain success in the past. That's also very important. And on top of it, yes, creating a game is, I would not say easy, but easy, because everyone can create a game. The question is why your game will be successful. Then that means your game, your product should be innovative. That means these teams should be innovative. They should create reasons for the players to change their games and play a new game. The game should be scalable, and also the game should be able to generate money from all over the world. So if the founders answer these questions and convincing with their answers, then investors are willing to invest, because this is a huge industry, over $200 billion industry, and is growing.
Yes, but I was wondering, Honggyu, do you agree with Baris when he says the team matters, and whether or not they have a success story matters for investors? What would you advise to new startups who are seeking investors?
Yeah, most investors value, most of all, the innovative teams is the most important, and the scalable concepts, and the last, the clear monetization strategies is also very important.
Yes. And Baris, Turkey has set a target to launch 100,000 tech startups by 2030. You mentioned there were government incentives, but I wonder, is there any other support from the government when it comes to the gaming sector, whether it's directly or indirectly?
There's a huge and variety of supports from the government. I think it's one of the best things government did in the last 10 years, or let's say 7-8 years. It helped the industry grow a lot. So if you are a gaming company, it's very easy. You are, as a first priority, tech-free zones should accept you as a gaming company, which means you don't pay corporate tax, you don't pay VAT, and you don't pay tax over your employee salaries. So clearly it's a zero tax country for a game company. On top of it, when you start marketing of your products, your games, you got an incentive per game from the government, which helps to game companies a lot to scale and to test their games. Because the most difficult part is while testing your game, you have to acquire users, you have to test the game, collect the data, and polish the game. It's an iteration, it's a continuous process until game reaches profitability. You should burn some money because to collect data till the game gets polished. And now with that incentive structure, government is covering the majority of the costs. And government is doing this per game. This is very important, not per company. That helps a lot to the Turkish developers, especially in the mobile gaming industry. You develop sometimes 2-3 games a year. So these marketing costs, some part of these marketing costs, especially testing costs, are covered by the government. On top of it, government has to pay some part of the salaries of your team, marketing of your company globally, participating to the game exhibitions, spending budgets to promote your brand globally, things like this. So variety of supports, and the bureaucracy is low. Sometimes people think, yes, there are supports, but it's difficult to get the supports, but it's not like this. So every game company which follows the rules, typical documentation, they can get all these incentives very easily, and government clearly supports all these game companies in the country. That's why they find opportunities to scale their teams, to scale their products, test their products, and polish them. But of course, if you are doing this business globally, so the game company should focus to the global markets, not Turkey.
So with all this support, Turkey could become one of the top players one day, maybe. It's on that way. In the meantime, Honggyu, South Korea is one of the biggest gaming markets in the world. How could Turkey learn from South Korea? Would anything else it can do so it can get into the top players, be part of the top players?
South Korea's gaming success lies in its robust infrastructure and supportive government policies to promote talented game developers. It's the most important, I think.
Yes. Baris, we talked about the evolution of Turkey's gaming industry, but I want to mention Zynga buying Peak Games, the first Turkish unicorn. Some have said that this has kicked off the golden age of the Turkish gaming sector. Do you agree with this, or is there still a long way to go?
No, I perfectly agree, because there are a couple of milestones. Yes, Joy Game was the first exit, so significant milestone one. But then the first unicorn, by the way, Peak Games became the first unicorn of Turkey, not only in the gaming industry, in general.
Yes.
So it is another milestone for the country. Yes, it started the golden age, because all the investors suddenly turned to Turkey. They understood that something's going on here. Then they discovered it's not only Peak Games, more companies are coming, more entrepreneurs are coming, more successful companies, games are coming from this market. And following the Peak Games exit, we have seen many successful game companies. Some of them already exited. Some of them, they don't need to exit. They keep growing. And the successes come every year. Every year we hear an exit. Every year we hear exit of a company or exit of a game to a global player. Or we hear a Turkish game company reaching a global huge success. So every year we hear that type of news, developments. That means, yes, we are in the golden age. We keep growing. That as a result of that, we are attracting investors from all over the world, not only West, especially nowadays Asian investors are highly interested.
Seems like we'll be hearing more big news from the Turkish gaming industry. Baris Ozistek, Honggyu Kim, thank you very much for joining me on Straight Talk.
Thank you very much. Our pleasure.
Turkish game developers tend to work in small teams, though they seem to aim high. As the country works to become a top player in the gaming world, it's also setting an example for other nations in the region. For more, joining me now from Abu Dhabi is tech journalist Javeria Khalid. Welcome to Straight Talk, Javeria. You wrote a detailed report about the thriving Turkish gaming industry from its humble beginnings to its current state. How did the sector evolve over the years, and how did it start catching the attention of other nations?
So Zainab, you actually used a very good word, which is humble beginnings, which is exactly what it is. It is a humble beginning for Turkey because just 15 years back, there were very handful of gaming studios. And now, if you look at it, there is Peak Games, which got acquired by Zynga for $1.8 billion in 2020. There is Dream Games, which was founded by the founder of Peak Games, which right now has a valuation of $2.75 billion. It raised a funding of $500 million. So the success has been phenomenal. In just 5 years, a very short span of time, Turkey's gaming industry has evolved to just unprecedented heights. And there are two unicorns coming out of Turkey in just 5 years. But apart from that, the evolution has been really fast. There are several factors when it comes to this evolution. Firstly, Turkey has a very young population. Over 50% of Turkey's population is under the age of 30. Then over 80% of the population owns smartphones. So when you have high internet penetration, combined that with very young population which wants to play very interactive games, then you have a thriving gaming industry for sure. And most importantly, the pandemic. We cannot ignore the effect of the pandemic on the gaming industry, which has really been a catalyst to this boom. And it has definitely accelerated the growth which we are seeing in Turkey right now.
How do you think Turkey has become an inspiration for other regional countries to set their own goals in this field?
Turkey has definitely become an inspiration for other countries, that's for sure. If we look at other countries in the Middle East, let's look at Saudi Arabia, which is making great strides when it comes to esports and console gaming. Saudi Arabia has recently invested over $40 billion into developing its gaming sector because it wants to be part of this lucrative industry. And given Turkey's very fast meteoric growth in this industry, everybody wants a chunk of the pie too. If you look at United Arab Emirates, UAE is positioning itself to become one of the top 10 global gaming hubs by 2033. It has churned out the Dubai gaming visa in order to attract gaming companies and gaming talent from across the world to set up base in the UAE. And so Saudi Arabia, UAE are two countries which are heavily inspired by Turkey's success. And Saudi Arabia is really making great strides. It has the resources. It is on its way to develop its gaming infrastructure in order to reduce its reliance on oil exports. And so we're going to see some really great games coming from the region also.
So you're saying Saudi Arabia and the UAE could become the rivals of Turkey in the future. Do you think it would come to a point that they would actually outshine Turkey?
Right now, it is it's quite an early stage to make this big statement whether it will outshine Turkey in the future. Because, look, Saudi Arabia definitely has the resources, it has the money to churn into its gaming infrastructure, to develop a very robust gaming infrastructure. But what Turkey has, Saudi Arabia currently does not have. Turkey has an already established gaming ecosystem. Turkey already has established gaming talent, and already has some very massive success stories coming out of the country, which currently Saudi Arabia does not have. So right now we are at an early stage. But given the resources, yes, it might be a possibility that Saudi Arabia can overtake in the future, if it also develops its local talent, if it also invests in creating policies like Turkish government has created in the past in order to favor the gaming ecosystem.
Some countries have also rolled out tech visas, and Turkey is also one of them. How do you think this could help it attract new talent?
The initiative of tech visa by the Turkish government is definitely a very strong move when it comes to attracting tech talent. First is that foreign talent can definitely bring a lot of diversity in talent, knowledge, in game development, and it can just improve the overall game quality that is coming out of Turkey. The second thing is it can really help fight brain drain in Turkey. Uh, if local talent sees that international talent is setting a base in the country, creating more jobs, then they will be more motivated to stay in the country. And in this way, local talent can be retained as well. Moreover, it can attract very heavy international investment into the country.
How do you think Turkey could differentiate itself against other countries that want to become app or gaming hubs?
Turkey can differentiate itself by firstly investing into artificial technologies. For example, there are VR experiences, there is blockchain technologies, there's artificial intelligence game design, which Turkey can invest in. And that can lead to a very high competitive advantage that Turkey can enjoy as compared to other countries. So, if Turkey wants to differentiate itself, it needs to have that first mover advantage. Apart from that, what you said earlier about tech visas, um, by having more policies like that, where we can encourage more foreign investment into the country, which can have more diversity in knowledge, skills, talent, that can really have a very positive impact on creating more diverse games when it comes to Turkey's gaming industry.
Javeria, at this point, I would like to ask you about China's DeepSeek. It's a little-known AI startup appending global markets at the moment. Now, Turkey is still trying to develop its AI models, but how much of an impact could AI and such startups have on the gaming industry?
That's actually a very good question, considering the amount of impact that AI is having across the world. And when it comes to artificial intelligence, AI and gaming are actually a perfect match for each other. DeepSeek, like you mentioned, this it offers advanced AI technologies which can really bolster Turkey's boom in the gaming industry in the future, taking it to really big heights. Just to give you an example of what all artificial intelligence can do, artificial intelligence can really create visual experiences for players. It can reduce the amount of time that developers spend on animation, graphic design, coding. It can generate very complex gaming storylines and gaming universes. It can personalize gaming experiences for players. So this is there is so much that artificial intelligence can do when it comes to gaming. And Turkey, if wants to stay in the game, then it really needs to adapt to artificial intelligence adopt it really fast if it wants to stay in the game for sure.
Javeria, thank you for this lovely chat and for joining me on Straight Talk. And that's all for this edition of Straight Talk with me, Zeynep Gökçe. If you've got any comments, please share them with us on X at Straight Talk TRT. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find more exclusive content. Until next time, take care and goodbye.